Welcome to the Profit Share Podcast with your hosts, Linda and Pres McKissack.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Profit Share Podcast. I'm your host, Pres McKissack.
And I'm Linda McKissack.
Hey Linda, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Pres.
It's good. Hey, you just had your challenge. How'd that go?
Amazing. I always am so nervous about it because I want to deliver such great quality and things to people, and it's the people that show up that make it great. So it's been a great week.
That's so cool. All right, so today on our podcast, we're going to talk about something that is, unless you've been living under a rock, you should have experienced the last probably 2 years, 3 years of your life, which is the AI revolution that we felt across the world, right?
Yeah.
And so today we're going to talk about how AI will change real estate recruiting forever. And I think you and I both agree that it absolutely will.
Oh, without it, it'll change everything and make so many things better. And recruiting is definitely one of them.
For sure. So before we kind of dive into specifically how AI is going to affect recruiting, I want to take a second and talk about the AI evolution. So really, no matter where you are on the understanding side of AI, I think this will give you a really good catch up on where we are now, and where we've been, and ultimately where AI is going to go in the future.
Yeah.
So if you think about kind of like a timeline, the very first version of AI, as a lot of people say, is what's called narrow AI. And basically narrow AI really wasn't actually AI at all. Narrow AI was the recommendations algorithms that you would experience with things like Netflix. So Linda, you watch a specific movie on Netflix, right? That's an action movie. And now Netflix says, oh, okay, Linda must like action movies, so she starts recommending action movies. Maybe that's probably Jenny. Okay. Maybe more rom-coms for you, or mystery. Yeah, mystery and crime. So that's really version one, right? Narrow AI. We've really had that for quite a while now. I think that was actually technically it's like the 80s when they started having like algorithms start to realize that they can predict things. So we've had that for quite some time. And then when we all really think about AI, that was really 2021 going into 2022 when ChatGPT came out of nowhere for most of us and introduced what's called generative AI.
Mm-hmm.
Now, generative AI is what most of us are familiar with. That's your ChatGPT, your Claude, right? Whatever Gemini, whatever AI tool that you use today, where you put in a prompt and that prompt spits out an answer that's meant to help you and guide you on whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah.
That was, and that I think we can all say, if you're using it, has improved your life in a big way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it was like the fastest subscription of all time to pass like $1 billion or something crazy.
Yeah.
It just exploded overnight. And then we have what's called agentic AI. This is the next evolution, and we are square in the middle of the agentic AI revolution. Most of us are probably not experimenting or using it yet. However, I think in the next year to 2 years, you absolutely will be. And if you're a techie, then you may already be playing with agentic AI. What agentic AI is, how it's different than generative AI. Generative AI is where you put in a prompt and you get back a response. Agentic AI is where you ask it to do something and it does something for you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've heard the term AI agents, this is agentic AI.
Yep.
Right. And we're going to start seeing more and more where that is, companies are opening up their systems to allow AI agents to go and do tasks, specific tasks, and then come back with completed work. So there's a real future in which you ask an AI agent to go do something for you around your business or recruiting, and he goes and does it, and it comes back and reports on how it went. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about, right?
I'm excited about that part.
Yeah, that one's going to be fun. And then the last one is what's called AGI or ASI. And the best way I can explain this is honestly think Terminator. So this is the world of robots. It's also the world in which what they say, this is theory at this point, it's not actually happened yet, where they say AI is going to get so smart, it will, at some point, it'll be smarter than the smartest human, and then it will be smarter than all humans combined, which is crazy to think about. And then you also have the evolution of robots, which are are fast. You've got Teslas and Optimus and other tools, right? Other companies that we probably haven't heard of yet that you're going to hear about in the next probably 5 years or less, as we start to see this AI and infusion of AI and robotics together, which is kind of crazy to think about. So with all of that said, that's sort of the evolution of AI over time. And let's go to generative AI first, Linda.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about, what are your thoughts on, do you think generative AI can help improve your productivity with recruiting?
Without a doubt. I think that's probably what it does best is help productivity, and especially around agents, because I think about anyone who's recruiting, but especially like team leaders or people like that. There's so much they have to know information to know how to help each person's specific problems.
Sure.
And this will be such a helper for that, because you can go to it to remember and know all the things that you can't hold in your head or don't know yourself.
Yeah. What's really cool to think about is, I would have said 3 years ago that one of the barriers to being great at recruiting is probably the length of time you've been in KW, or how fast you have learned about the tools in KW, what resources we have, specific instances about your business, like what are the needs of a new agent versus someone who's been in the business for 3 years versus someone who's starting a team, right? And there's all of those pieces where are nuanced things that, unless you've experienced it, you wouldn't know it.
Right.
However,
or you've been to all the classes and
learned about it, and that's right. So there's a time element there. However, now with generative AI, your ability to shortcut the learning curve is I've never seen anything like it. Where you can go as fast, like you could start today and be up to speed in probably a month to 2 months with knowing how to prescribe and how to point people to the right direction, or sooner, depending on how committed you are to putting in prompts into an AI tool and really learning the recruiting process of what is recruiting and how you do it well. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I think back to, we have a situation in Ohio Valley where we had one of our top agents who had a specific situation in his business, and I generally knew the direction I needed to go,
Right.
but I wasn't quite clear on all the right ways to help him get there. That makes sense, right?
Yes.
Because a big part of recruiting is not only you understanding something, it's how do you help other people understand and move them towards knowing what they need to do. So I put our entire history with this person into ChatGPT, and I also put his situation and what I knew and kind of what I thought was the direction.
Right.
And you and I read what it spit out.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. I could not have written it better. And what's really cool, and this is what I love to do, and if you're not doing this, I recommend it. I will take business people that I respect, and I really like the way that they communicate or the way they think. And I'll ask it to think about that situation as if they were them.
Right.
So, for example, one that I really like is Alex Ramosi. If you don't know who he is, go on YouTube and look up Alex Ramosi, and you'll find out real quick. Or go on social media, you'll probably find out real quick. He's in his 30s, an incredibly successful person in business. He's very articulate. He's also very jacked, big, strong dude, and that's kind of his brand. But I like the way he thinks and articulates in business.
Yeah.
It's where most people stay surface level, he goes really deep. And so I asked it to think like Alex and to give some thoughts. And I also asked it to I think it was Garrett Keller. Let's think like Garrett Keller and give us some thoughts. And it was interesting to see how they were in line but different in terms of how they communicated.
Right.
Long story short, we ended up taking that framework, read through it, internalized it, and then sat down with him. Within 24 hours, he made the necessary changes in his business, and he literally called us and said, I don't think you understand how impactful that one conversation was, that one meeting was, and in terms of completely changing the energy in my organization and in my life.
And I want to add one thing. In the meeting, one thing that AI couldn't give that we were able to give is our own experiences with maybe what the other person was thinking.
Sure.
To help eliminate some of his fear about making a change with the person.
Yeah.
You know, our own experience of being with people and knowing that they may, if he's struggling with them in a particular role, they might be struggling being in that particular role too. And so that was kind of cool to see the two come together.
For sure. Our own experience plus the support of generative AI really give us,
It was kind of like having Alex and Gary on each of your shoulders.
days exactly. How else could you do that and read a book that they've read?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that would be the main thing. And then I'd also just say, again, whereas before you had to know stuff before you could give good answers on things. Now you can just, we talk all the time about agents' value gaps.
Right.
An agent gives you their value gap. Instead of you immediately having to know the answer, you can just put it into generative AI and put in a really good prompt with it on help me identify how to help them best within the context of KW and the resources we have, plus just in their business, and it will spit out some really good thoughts for you to take back and share with them. So you're no longer limited by what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You're really just limited by how creative you can be with your prompts.
Yep.
And then how much action you're willing to take to get enough enough relationships with people. And that's the part that generative AI will never do, is the relationship part.
Well, and I think too, it gives you validity because you sound smarter, right? And then I think also the other thing it can do is always say in recruiting, because we know that people eventually join because they experience something with us, not something we told them. It would point you in the direction of which classes KW has that would be a great experience for that person to go to, for them to have the ahas. And it's almost like you get to be in their head,
Yes.
knowing where they need to be, so that they get what they need to get.
Yes.
And that's leadership, by the way. And then those are the places where they actually understand and want to be in a relationship with that company.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, last part I'll say on generative AI is some thoughts I have. Starting the relationship with anyone is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I love that generative AI can do is you could give it a list of agents in your market that you want to have a deeper relationship with,
Mm-hmm.
and ask it to give you a list of ideas for how to connect with them, how to start conversations, how to start a relationship, what's something that you can find out about them. I know that as creepy as that sounds, right? It can go and scour the internet to find what it can find about a human. And that's just going to get better over time as more tools open up, what information can be pulled from into AI tools.
Mm-hmm.
And again, what I have found is most people know what they need to do, but they lack a good reason to start it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I think AI is great at is giving you really creative ideas of how to start conversations that you will feel good about doing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so now we've talked about generative AI. And again, most of you have access to that, probably using it on a regular basis. Let's talk about what you're probably not using yet, or if you are, maybe you're using it in its infancy, which is agentic AI. So agentic AI, Linda, I would probably equate it, if generative AI can help you 2 or 3 times your productivity, what would you say, how much do you think agentic AI can improve our productivity?
Well, I would probably definitely underestimate because I'm not using it enough yet. I want to, and I see other people doing it, but I would say probably at least 10 times.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's significantly more than generative.
Okay.
And time will tell if that's true or not, right? Because we're still early in the process. A couple cool things that we've been testing because, myself, Josh, and Indy on our team have been digging more and more into how can we use AI specifically to help with recruiting. One of the things we're beta testing right now is we have a handful of offices across the country that are, we basically built an AI agent called RAIA, RAIA. She stands for Recruiting AI Assistant. That's RAIA. And she does one specific thing really, really well. When a lead comes in to one of our market centers recruiting sites, she takes that lead and follows up with them. And she has one main job, right? Your job is to get these leads that come in to book appointments with market centers. Some of those people need to be booked to a one-to-many, like a career night.
Right.
And some of them need to be booked to one-to-ones, like maybe someone who's already started their classes. They don't need to come to career night. They need to have a one-on-one meeting with someone in the office and start building a relationship so that when they finish their classes, they're going to join their office, right? And it's been really, we just passed our first, I think it's our first like month of having them in it. And to see the amount of leads generated, the conversions to appointments. And then also the really cool part is when, before when people have questions as they're going through, they talk to a human, right? And this is maybe a little nerdier than most people need to know, but I'm going to kind of share it anyways. The way I would think about agentic AI, this is what I believe you're going to see in your business in the future, and probably tools that people build to help you around different things. It's what we're trying to do. It's what we are doing in the recruiting world for KW. The way it works is you're going to build someone will build and sell you one master AI agent. And what I mean by that is it's kind of like the catch-all spot, right? Think of it like it's the place that everything flows through. And then what that AI agent will do is, depending on what's coming in, it will route that thing to below it. It will have specific AI agents that do a specific thing. So said differently, I don't believe you will ever have one AI agent that sits in your, let's talk about an agent's database. I don't think there will ever be a day where you have one AI agent that sits in your database and does everything. You will have one AI agent that you're going to think it's one AI agent, but the reality is you've got a master AI agent that the thing comes into. So let's say it's like a lead comes in. It'll come in and you'll have information about the lead. And that AI agent will know that I need to send a lead. When it's a lead, it goes over to our specific AI agent that only does lead convert.
Buyer leads or something.
Exactly, buyer leads. And so buyer lead goes over to the buyer AI agent, and it's trained to do one thing really well. It's trained to get those buyers to book appointments with your buyer specialist or your buyer agent or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just not sure why couldn't the one do all those things? Because that is kind of what their supernatural power is, right?
Yes.
You have a limitation.
Yeah, same question. It's because that's the complexity. The more complexity you add into the AI, the more likely you already have errors, issues.
Oh, okay.
So if you think about it, an AI is just by nature complex. And so the more variables you introduce, the more places you have for problems, the harder it is to solve problems.
Yeah.
So that's why I
think I've already seen that myself in putting things into it. I want to bring up everything. I sometimes get it too much and it takes me in a different direction than I really want to go. Yeah, that's right. Well, we just had an experience today where Jimmy was telling me that, we were talking about he had some hip issues. So we're going to get him to an orthopedic. And I put a bunch of stuff into ChatGPT, and I guess that it clocked that we were saying, what is it, his back or is it his hip? So I asked it to give me a recommendation of who to send it to. Well, sure enough, he went to the appointment today. It was a back doctor instead of a hip doctor. I said a hip doctor. The good news is Jimmy's back is excellent. The back of a 45-year-old, in case anyone's wondering, it is in wonderful condition. Hip, not so much. So, however, God knows he knows a great orthopedic, and he's going to recommend Jimmy into, which is. And it is a God mode because the guy's so busy, he would probably not be able to get in on his own. And the guy knows him personally, so he's going to make sure Jimmy gets in. That's exactly right. So, funny enough, we've seen where AI has recommended the wrong thing or not. There's errors that come up. So I think that will be the structure that you'll see. That makes sense. That's kind of what we're exploring right now inside of our profit share products and things like that is what specific AI agents can we build. RAIA is our first one. To solve a problem for a market center or an agent or brand recruiting and growing their office or growing their downline. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. And then the last thing I'll say is AGI or ASI. This is the one I said Terminator. The only thing I'm going to say about that right now, because that's futuristic, we're not at this point, is you better believe that we will be the first people in line as soon as a robot is available. To spend 8 hours a day recruiting to grow our downlines. The McKissacks will be the first in line
to sign up for that. And so we will have more to report on that in the future.
Yeah, because honestly, our motto has always been no job too small to subcontract.
That's right.
So who better to subcontract to than a bunch of robots?
I can't get them a better use of this than to help us grow our downline. So
Help us do anything.
we'll see. And hey, I would rather it be growing my downline than trying to destroy the world.
That's, for sure. Let's keep it busy building our downlines. For
That's
sure.
right.
Changing people's lives.
That's awesome. So the question is, will AI change real estate recruiting forever? I would argue, I think you'd argue it already has.
Yeah.
And it will continue to do amazing things to help all of us be able to do what we love to do better, which is bring great people to this company.
Yeah. Can't wait to see.
Yeah.
To be continued.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. As always, we love you, and subscribe to our podcast and pass it along to an agent. That would be our ask, or pass it along to a leader that you think this would help. The more people that listen, the more podcasts we do, and the more people we get to change lives for.
Yeah. Go change lives. That's what recruiting is all about.
See you next time.